for this lecture, we need to ensure that we're dealing with it correctly and that we are, more than anything, aware of all the transitions that a child has to go through quite early in life, especially in terms of coming to school. So unless we deal with this properly, then it can impact their personal and social responses, and it can also make them quite regressive in terms of their behaviour as well. So looking at the early years, we're aware that a child comes into nursery. So we have nursery, we have preschool nursery, which in Wales is often referred to as Cylch Meithrin, or nursery preschool. They can go to the nursery preschool from 2.5 years onwards, and then they sometimes come into the school when they're about 3.5 or half a day. Some preschool settings continue with that provision until they are 5 years old, because in actual fact, education isn't statutory for any child until they are 5 years old. So there's no statutory requirement for any child to attend any educational setting until they are 5. So it's important for us to bear that in mind. So we need to make sure that we're able to smooth over the transitions that a young child goes through, because they might have childcare, nursery, school, a lot of things going on, and if we don't deal with that and preempt that transitional opportunity, if you will, then we're missing opportunities, and we might possibly ensure that that child doesn't settle in as best as they could. So it's really important that we bear this in mind, and it is something that's to do with education, and it is part of your role as a teacher to make sure that you preempt these situations and that you do provide the transitional tools that children need when they're coming to your class in school. So when we're thinking about our transitions as adults, I suppose you can identify more than anything with moving or starting a new college course, or moving to university, or moving to halls. All of that is a transitional part of your life, and I'm sure that you could possibly share with us some things that made it easy and some things that made it a little bit more difficult from your point of view. I can identify to some degree with you, because my eldest here now is looking at universities for next year, and obviously because of the COVID situation, there are no open days, on campus, so it's very difficult to have a feel of a university. It's also really difficult to speak to tutors face to face and stuff like that as well. So is anybody willing to share something that made things easier for your transition to university this year? You can write it in the chat, or you can talk to me. Did you have information about your halls before moving in? Oh, brilliant. So finances, well-being, accommodation, are really important points there. Brilliant. And getting to know the people that you would be moving in with as well, that you're aware of who you're going to be sharing your floor or your halls or whatever with. So all of those little things probably made you feel a little bit less anxious and made the whole experience a little bit easier for you. So, as adults, if we're finding those things quite difficult, then we can only assume how difficult this is for a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old as they go on. So it's really important that we, address this, and that we think of these things before we start on our educational journey, really.
We're going to be looking at what is literacy, the definition and purpose, what are the aims of the National Literacy and Numeracy Framework, the LNF, implementation, importance of consistency, a role of you as a subject teacher, looking at effective literacy practice and what Estin has to say about effective literacy and numeracy practice, looking how the framework is structured and the interactive LNF online, looking at developing oracy and writing skills and the cross-curricular approach to that, looking at the advantages and pitfalls of cross-curricular skills approach, and then at the end there are some references and guidebooks for you. First of all, what I'd like you to do is to watch the video What is Literacy? And this is about 2.5 minutes long, and whilst you are watching this video you need to be making some notes. So you need to think, or I would like to hear or like you to write down 3 words you would use to describe or to explain what literacy is to someone else. Okay, welcome back. After watching the video, I hope you've got your 3 words that you would use to describe the literacy to, or what is literacy to somebody else. Okay, so here now, as you know, with regards to the new curriculum, we have 6 areas of learning and experiences, don't we? And within that, we have cross-curricular responsibility. So as you should know by now, the 6 areas of learning, we have language, literacy and communication, don't we? Which includes Welsh. We have maths and numeracy. We have science and technology, which includes DT and ICT. We have humanities, which includes history and geography. We have health and well-being, and within this you have RE, personal social development and PE. And last but not least, we have expressive arts, which include art and music. So within those 6 areas of learning, we also have responsibilities for literacy, numeracy, and digital competency. So in a way, when you're teaching within these 6 areas of learning, you need to try and incorporate the literacy, numeracy, and digital competency as much as possible. And we'll discuss that more as we go through the lecture. So today we are looking at the element on the left there, which is literacy, and how does that fit in, okay, with regards to our cross-curricular responsibilities. We are all responsible for developing those 3 things, the literacy, numeracy, and digital competency, when we teach within the 6 areas of learning. Okay, so what is literacy? Well, literacy describes a set of skills including speaking, listening, reading and writing, which enable us to make sense of the world around us. And what is its purpose? What's the point of it? Well, literacy is the use of language skills in daily activities at school, at home, at work and in the community. And it involves both using literacy skills and knowing how to use English and Welsh. And that's come from the Welsh Government's National Literacy and Numeracy Framework 2013, which has now been updated in August 2020. Okay, so what are the key aims of the Literacy and Numeracy Framework, the LNF? Well, it's to improve standards in our school and to improve learners' literacy, numeracy and digital competency skills. So this is all based on research, and over the years what they found, Estin and Ofsted and all the various inspectorates, that over the years not everyone, not all teachers, not all people teaching in school have been incorporating literacy, numeracy and digital competency into their daily teaching. So something had to be done. So one of the, it's all based on research, so it is seen as a planning tool, to use the framework as a planning tool that supports all teachers to embed literacy and numeracy and DCF, remember, in their teaching, their daily teaching of their curriculum, of their subject, of their skills. It's to determine learner progress across the literacy continuum, because you can track and follow using the framework, and also to help teachers of all subjects to identify and provide opportunities for learners to apply literacy across the curriculum. So we'll go more into the framework itself. By looking at the literacy framework, it is all mapped out for you. What kind of skills should the children, the learners, be developing within those four main skills, the oracy, listening, reading and writing, across all progression stages.